This would be the midpoint of the Scouts hike on the first day of the Chief Pontiac Trail. They stop at this shelter and have their lunch, and then they have a trek along public highways. I don't know about you, but I think it's about time we got back out and hiked some more of the Chief Pontiac Trail. And the Chief Pontiac Trail starts right here. You can see it's looking a little muddy today. It's about 51 degrees out. It's a beautiful late winter morning. Snow's almost gone. Should be a good day for hiking. And somewhere around here, way over in the weeds there, do you see it? There's another one of the Chief Pontiac Trail signs. Let's go have a look at it. Yeah, this one's looking a little worse for wear. Got a few bullet dings in it. Could use a paint job. Not rusting too badly yet. You can still make out the printing there. The trail here is all eroded and washed out. To watch our step here. We're right on the boundary here of the Walled Lake Outdoor Education Center, entering into the Proud Lake Recreation Area. And we're headed down to the bottomlands, the marshes and the swamps, flanking the Huron River as it flows through Proud Lake Recreation Area. Yeah, this must be the boundary right here. So the Scouts would be hiking this portion of the trail late in the afternoon. They would have stopped for lunch at the covered pavilion in Highland Recreation Area. Then they would have gone on and completed the road hike portion. Pretty dull and boring. And then they would have ended up at the Walled Lake Outdoor Recreation Center. And it's back into the wild. Hiking in the woods again. Now where the Scouts were hiking for the first part of their hike during the day, Highland Recreation Area, that is a glacial moraine. Elevations there are 1,000 or 1,100 feet, where the glaciers dumped loads and loads of sand and gravel. Where we are now is, I just checked my altimeter, about 925 feet elevation. So we've lost about 100 feet. We're now on the in the floodplain, the bottomland of the Huron River. And I'll turn you around here. You can see the swamp in front of us, and this whole area alongside the Huron River, north and south, it's remnants of the braided streams of the glacial outwash. There'll be these low swampy areas, and they'll be surrounding. You see a little bit farther in the distance there, the land raises up again. Those would be like gravel bars or islands that were formed in the braided streams of the outwash. So the trail today is going to cross several of these little island areas and then descend back down into the low swampy areas. You can see right now I'm standing on a boardwalk that crosses this swamp. The glaciers, the ice front here pushed in from the south. It was the Erie lobe of the glacier, pushed in from the south from basically the Lake Erie Basin, and flowed northward actually until it met the Huron Saginaw lobe. And where they met, they kind of stalled out and dumped all the sand and gravel that became Highland Recreation Area. And then as the Erie lobe retreated, all the meltwater accumulated and ran off through the Huron River Valley. It's very easy to see some of the features that were left behind by that immense amount of meltwater runoff from the glaciers. You have in front of us there an embankment, so to speak. I'm sure at one time where we're standing right now was underwater, and that was the stream bank. And as you can imagine, as weather conditions change, so on and so forth, the water levels, the water flowing off the glacier increased and decreased, and so it left behind traces of that change. And right in front of us here is an obvious remnant. To the right of the frame here is a low embankment. Some places it's more pronounced than others. Here it's quite obvious. If you've ever stood on the bank of a modern river and noticed the landform as the water flows past the bank and how it undercuts the bank and leaves kind of a sharp change, I don't know what you want to call it, a sharp change in elevation right at the edge of the flow. And that's what we have going on here. Turn around this direction, and I'm going to walk right along the brow of that embankment here. So to our left would be dry land of the riverbank, and to our right would be the flow of the river. And we lost about 3 or 4 feet of elevation just stepping down from there to there. So now we're standing in water up to our waist. It's cold water too, coming off that glacier. And if we walk over here towards the swampland, maybe crossing right here, we've got a little gravel bar raised above the water. And here we are back to the water level again. And as the water receded, the water level lowered and receded, and these were left like as isolated swamps captured by these gravel bars. Wherever you see the oaks growing, that's an indication you're on a gravel bar. Here again in front of us, another obvious river embankment. Quite distinct change in the elevation of the land. In just a few feet, it drops 3 feet or more. Nice oak tree there, boy. That's a monster. Look at those roots, man. And we can thank Troop 326 for this lovely boardwalk. Keep our feet dry as we cross the swamp here. Looks like they should have gone another 15 yards. As we come off the boardwalk there, just crossed over the swamp. See the swamp in front of us, the red bark of the dogwood there that grows in the swamp. And in the distance on the bank, the oak trees marking the edge. And we turn around in the direction we're headed, and we're headed up. Elevation is rising here, so we're on one of those gravel islands. The streams, the outflow streams braided around these islands. It's really nice in the woods today. I feel like winter is for the most part behind us. Warmer days ahead. There's quite an extensive trail area back in here. Chief Pontiac Trail actually shares with Proud Lake Trails. Have an intersection here. This is not the way we're gonna go, but it's another boardwalk over the swamp. And you can see the land rising on the opposite side there. Another one of those gravel islands. This way we go to trail marker 18. I love the understory of the forest here. The little beech saplings still holding their leaves after a long winter. I love how they shake and shiver. The slightest breeze. It's one of my favorite sights in the winter woods. That was a short walk to marker number 18. Number 10 is our next destination. ahead. See the little brow of a ridge sort of in the trail, and we're going to be descending off of the gravel bar island that we're on and back down into the swamp. Actually, in the distance I can see the river. Stepping down off the gravel bar behind us and into the ancient flow of the Huron River. And the river embankment is very plain here. The ancient shoreline of the river, of the flow. This to our right, facing westward, and here to our left, going east, along there. There's the embankment. See the land coming down, sloping gradually, then dropping right off into the bottom land of the river flow. Oh, what do you make that out to be? Looks like a launching ramp for to do a motorcycle jump or something. Gonna jump from this boardwalk onto that one. I'm just joking. This is a wheelchair ramp. Give wheelchair-bound people access to the beauty of the woods and the swamp and the river here. Although I think they should put some bumpers, some wheel stops at the end there. Conceivably, somebody could go right off. Have a little circle area over here for ranger-led hikes and talks. And once again, it never fails. Every hike I'm on, I find something. And someone's little emergency tool there. Little lanyard for around their neck, a whistle, little place to keep matches or something. So there's trail marker 10 ahead. And from number 10, Chief Pontiac Trail goes to the right. I cross over the bridge over the Huron. There's a little weir here. Maintains the level of Proud Lake. I always have to stop and watch the water flow. Marker 21 is our next destination. This is a very popular stretch of trail here. Lots of nice river views. It's another nice little sitting place alongside the river here. Ring of benches around a fire pit here. And this is also a popular pull-out spot for canoeists and kayakers. Traversing another boardwalk here, and it terminates on another one of these little gravel knolls, little gravel island, up and out of the swamp, and right away you got your white oak trees. It's what they love. Little ice up ahead. Watch our step. Look at that boardwalk. Don't cross it if you're drunk. We are approaching the organization campground, which is the Scouts' destination, the end of their first day hike. And there are two organization campgrounds here, upper and lower. One's closer to the river than the other. Really nice. Post number 22. We go to the right. Number 23 is our next. Yep, they're called the Pines Organization Campgrounds. Again, swamp, bottomlands, ancient riverbank right there, and stepping up to a flat area, and then another riverbank right here. So evidence of different water levels at different times in the past. This is the split for the two organization campgrounds right here. The upper, you can see it up there, and down this way to the lower. We'll go look at the lower first. So after a hard day of hiking, this is what you see if you're a scout. I don't know how many miles you've just hiked, probably close to 10, and this is where you're going to spend the night. Underneath these beautiful mature white pines. Got a covered pavilion there in case it's raining. You got shelter, some place to eat. Nice supply of firewood in the shed there. Benches around a fire ring here. Another grouping over there. Latrines. Scouts will sleep good tonight. Even in the wintertime, you can smell the pine sap here underneath these white pines. The ground is just covered with pine duff. The wind sighing in the boughs overhead. right alongside picturesque bend in the Huron River. So the pavilion is nothing fancy, just a covered space with a quarter wall here to keep out of the wind and rain if they need to. A few tables, roof over your head. Now the one thing the Lower Pines campground lacks is a pump. There's no water there. So if the scouts want water, they need to hike up to the Upper Pines campground. And there's a convenient shortcut through the woods here, right up this way. Mr. Crow is announcing our presence there. Upper Pines Group Camp. Not quite as nice as Lower Pines. Here's your water well right here. The fire ring over there, but no benches. This looks like a nice new fire ring here. Looks like the DNR is going to build them another pavilion here, covered pavilion, just like the one down below, which will be nice. Beyond, you got a couple of latrines. And over here is something interesting. You got one main pole in the center here. Got two sets of eyelets sunk into it. And then all around the outside, radiating out from the center, are these other poles with eyelets on them. It's for hammocks. The scouts can hang their hammocks. That's the end of today's CPT segment. I'm going to keep this one short, maybe not in terms of video length, but in terms of mileage. So far, 3 videos we've covered the first day's hike, so I'm going to try to compress the second day's hike into 2 videos when I get started on it again. Gonna walk the last short segment here and then be done. So this would be the scouts path beginning the morning, the second day, and it's just a short walk along this path. It brings them out to the Wixom Road River Access Lot. You probably see the traffic out there on Wixom Road and hear it for sure. Here's another hiker sign. Yeah, you can go to the right, but right through there takes you down to the lot. Come out by the attendance booth here. And then for the scouts, it's a short hike down the driveway here to Wixom Road, look both ways, and cross back into the woods on the CPT trail for day 2. And that's where I'll see you next time. Well, I hope I didn't bore you too much with my rambling commentary. I'll try to edit it down into a digestible chunk when I get home and before I publish this video. Anyway, that's a wrap for today's CPT hike. I hope you'll come along next time and join me. Till then, bye.